Hey everybody, this is Brian from OttoNavi. So today we're going to be installing a blind spot sensor on a vehicle. So this will give you a step-by-step on how to do it and also show you what the kit comes with. So the very first thing you see are the two sensors here. There's one for the left side, one for the right side. You also get the two indicators, one for the right side, one for the left side. You get the CPU, which is the main brain. You get the harnesses to connect the sensors and an extension in case it's not long enough. A 28mm hole saw to make the hole for the sensors. You get the speaker, which will make noise when someone is in your blind spot, and the main harness, which connects all the sensors and indicators together to your vehicle. Okay, so this is all the kit comes with, and now I'm going to show you the tools you will need. So the very first thing is a measuring tape in order to measure where you want to put the sensors in your bumper. You'll need the 28mm hole saw that comes included, and this is in order to make the hole big enough for the sensor to fit in your bumper. You'll also need an impact drill or a powerful drill in order for it to go through the bumper, which sometimes has steel behind it. You'll need a Phillips screwdriver in order to remove your signal lights and to make all the proper connections into the CPU and the cable. You'll need a silicone gun in order to go around the sensor once it's installed. This way it won't fall off and it'll just hold it in place. You'll need some black tape in order to tape up all the cables that you won't need, or actually when you make the connections, just to hold them in place. Clorox wipes come in handy to clean the surface area of the vehicle where you're going to put the indicators so they won't fall off. And tap connectors, which are optional in case you don't want to actually cut and splice. This will make the connections a lot easier to just connect. We're installing this blind spot sensor on a 2000 Ford Explorer, which is this vehicle here. Okay, so the first thing you actually want to do is measure where your bumper is. This blind spot sensor has a minimum of 20 inches. So you have to set your measuring tape to 20 inches and measure from the floor up. Okay, if your bumper is under those 20 inches, then you're gonna actually have to use angle brackets in order for the sensor to be angled up in order to see anything around your blind spot. Okay, in my case, I'm over those 20 inches, so I don't need to do no angling or anything. All I have to do is just drill the hole and put the sensor in. Okay, so once you actually make the hole with the hole saw into your bumper, then everything is pretty simple. The sensor will fit right in, and then we just put some silicone around it in order to just hold it in place. We did use white silicone in this vehicle by mistake, but you could definitely use black silicone, clear silicone, or whichever kind of silicone you want to use. Okay, and this is just to hold it in place, and that's pretty much it. Once you do this, you're done with the sensor part. This is just a close-up to see the finished product, so you can see how good it looks once it's actually installed and has everything, all the silicone around it. Alright, so to run the cables inside of the vehicle on this car, it's pretty simple. There's a plug here right behind the left signal light, which goes into the vehicle. So all we had to do was push the cables in, and that's it. Once we push the cables in, then we just push this back in order to cover it as much as we can, and that's it. All the cables are now inside. This just shows you a little close-up and better view of how we ran the cables inside of the vehicle. Okay, all vehicles are different though. Once you actually run those cables inside of the vehicle, now all you have to do is make the connections to the left signal light, which will be the power, and you will actually need to push down the other cables for the right side down here, which, like I said, it's different for cars. But yeah, I mean, once you actually connect the power to the actual power of the signal light, which we show here, and you can see we use black tape, but like I said, you can definitely use tap connections instead. Okay, you would connect it to the power of that. It does come with the ground. Make sure that you connect it to a very good ground, and then all the rest of the cables you will just drop down and run them through the bottom so it can reach to the right blinker. Okay, so we just ran it all. We ran the sensor cable and the signal light indicator, and we just run it up. We connect the cable to the power of the right signal, and then the right sensor cable to the right sensor. And then once you're actually done, all these cables here, you would just zip tie them or use any kind of ties in order to just hold them in place so they won't be dragging on the floor or they won't be visible. Okay? Once the cables are inside, then right here we actually just connect the CPU. Okay? The CPU, like I said, this is how we put it, but you can place this wherever you want. We just put it in here just because this way it won't be visible. Once you connect that, you will run this cable, which are for the indicators, to the front. On this car it's pretty simple, so we just ran it in through here, and then if you go to the side, you can see that we ran it through the bottom of the carpet through here, right there. So we just ran the cable through there, and then we just ran it through the trim here. We just picked it up and ran all the cable in there all the way to the front. Okay, through here too. We just, like I said, we just lift up the trim, put it in there, popped it right out over here, and that's where all the connections will be made. Okay, this way you won't see any cables dangling, you won't have any visible cables, and everything looks neat. Alright, so the actual indicators in the car, before you install them, make sure to wipe down the trim or wherever you're going to put it, because it does have double-sided tape and it won't adhere if it has dirt and all that. So we actually wiped it down, we plugged it right in there, we pushed it in really good, and the cable, we actually ran it through this side trim here, went all the way down to the bottom, put it under the carpet, and ran it all the way to the left side, which is where we originally ran the first cable, the one that's on the back. Same with the speaker here. We connected it with the double-sided tape here, and then the cable we did the same. We ran it through the back, back behind the carpet, and then ran it all the way down to the actual cable. On the actual cable itself, it has, the speaker is a little fatter than the indicators, and then you'll have one that tells you which one is the left side, which one's the right side, so you won't mess that up. And then for this one's I think the easiest one, because this one you really just push it in there and then just let the cable hang into the trim right here, and it'll connect right into the main harness itself. So that's pretty much all we had to do. It's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. You know, it's gonna take you a little long just to run it through the trim, and also it's a little different depending on the vehicle. On this car here, it was really simple just because everything is right there, you know, and it's easy to do. On other smaller cars, it might take you a little longer to run it through the trim and all that, but it's pretty simple. It's just a little tedious work. But yeah, I mean, once you have that going, that's it. That's all you have to do. Like I said, just make sure to wipe down wherever you're gonna put the indicators and the speaker before placing it with the double-sided tape. Here are just the close-ups on the indicator so you can see a better view on the right and the left indicator, just for reference. And this here is the actual speaker that makes the sound for your blind spots. You can put this wherever you like, but we recommend putting it somewhere you can reach just because it has volume options and the option to turn it off if you'd like. Alright, so now that it's installed, I'm going to actually turn on my blinkers and walk through the sensor so you can see that they're actually working and everything. So I'm going to do the driver's side first, so I'm going to turn on my left blinker and then just walk through the sensor. Okay, so I'm just going to walk through it again, and like, I'm not walking right next to the sensor, I'm actually a couple feet away, so that's how good it detects. Okay, so that's the driver's side. Now I'm going to do the passenger side. So turn on my right blinker and I'm going to walk around the car. Okay, so I did the passenger side. I walked away from it for a couple seconds and walked back in it. That's why it turned off and on. So I mean, everything's working. The setting down here at the bottom on the speaker, you can actually move it if you do want it to be higher. Right now it's set to low. You could set it so it could be higher, so that beep can be a little higher, or you could turn it off, and that way you'll just actually see the sensors. Another thing you need to know is that
they actually only beep if you have your blinkers on. If you don't have your blinkers on, it'll still tell you if there's something near you, but it won't beep. So right now if I walk through the sensor, which I'll do, you'll see that the light actually is indicating that there's something next to me, but it won't beep. So I'm gonna go walk to the sensor. Okay, so they are on at all times. It's just they only beep when you have your blinkers on. So that's pretty much it. The whole install on the 2000 Explorer. It was pretty simple, straightforward. The hardest thing is just to run the actual wires. So yeah, thanks for watching. Once again, I'm Brian from OttoNavi. Don't forget to subscribe to our other channels and check out all our other videos. Thank you.